Hello, welcome back to Library of Ruina. This video is a bit different because, well, we aren't doing anything major here. We have a lot of books to catch up on because I didn't know. I forgot that you could do other ones. So yeah, we have quite a few, although I'm pretty sure these ones are... Where is it? I know we just got this one. Oh, well, here we go, sure. Let's start with this one. Then we'll work our way down. I think we read all of those ones, yeah. Cool. Who said a fix is a free man? Must have been some no-good show-off who told you that. Kid, that's just our dream and nothing more. Fixes are managed by offices. Most of our jobs come from the request of the offices get, so we're virtually out of work without them. And offices are managed by the 12 associations, and on top of those 12 is the HANA Association. Our lives are subordinate to layer upon layer of hierarchy. I'd love to hear where that supposed freedom is according to them, because I don't see it. There's one way to achieve that pipe dream. A fixer's freedom is only truly complete when they are given a color from the HANA Association. Don't go around proclaiming that you'll become one of the colors, though. You think it's that easy to break free from these massive fetters? We definitely read this one, right? Yeah. Okay. We read all of those. But we didn't read any of these, so here we go. A nice short one, cool. The rusty chains ain't the biggest syndicate, but each member got strengths to boot and boast. The only weapon we use is these spiky chains. Tie him, smack him, anything goes. We gotta be careful not to get swung or swayed around or bind ourselves with our own metal. My body's full of scars thanks to that, but hey, it's not too bad, is it? Okay, next one. Wow, every part of my body's aching. Cloudy bastards. Why are they picking at us so much? We've taken some serious damage on our side. Heard the blade lineage also got messed up. Got any news? Heard our boss is gonna go out and talk to him. If boss is going alone, won't that be dangerous? The other side's also only sent in their top dog or whatever. No need to worry about the boss. Right, they're weaklings individually. That's why they like to move in packs. Okay, next one. Time for a workshop affiliated fixer. In the cities, there are as many workshops as there are unique gadgets. And the Tray Association is the one responsible for managing those workshops in general. It reviews newly designated weapons, files applications to the head, and charges taxes for them. You can't use the weapons that haven't passed their evaluation. Getting a rejection from them basically means they see the weapon as something that shouldn't be used in the city. They aren't too cold about it, though. They sometimes send the applicants feedback about how they can improve their designs to a passable level. Not that we need it, since our latest weapons passed on the first try. Nice. Oh yeah, Hanafuda. I only saw them once, so not too much. They were pretty easy to beat, that's what I remember. But then again, this one's going back, huh? Anyways, here we go. In the nest of gambling, hundreds of games take place every day. Humans leaving as winners or losers. Some admit their defeat, while others try to make a scene and escalate into a violent mess. It's the job of offices like ours to monitor the gaming between individuals or organizations, verify the results, and prevent situations from turning violent. There are naturally a lot of offices that handle this kind of work, most of them being affiliated with the UFI Association, ours included. Whenever a game happens with something at stake, a go-between needs to be there to prove that the results were legitimate. Given the sheer number of games, we're short-handed sometimes, or the sheer number here. Next one, young officer. Or young office, okay. Most residents in SJ are relying on a special entity. I can't talk much about it, but it looks like the fortune readings others sometimes see. It predicts the events that'll happen to you during a year like an annual fortune, and gives opinions on immediate matters. It never dictates, never gives a direct solution to your problems, though. It's up to you to make your choices, but I can't deny that it has a strong influence on your decision. This is a nest of gambling. You hear all sorts of noise daily. It almost drives you mad. Gunshots and screams aren't exactly swell to wake up to. Those sounds used to wake me up every day, but not anymore. The person living in room 1829 vanished after losing a bet a week ago, and I saw him carrying a large coffin out of room 1831 yesterday. Oh, ain't that chipper? You read this one, right? Read that. Safe, yeah, we read. Do we read this though? Did we? No, we didn't. We read this. We did this. We just knew this one. Okay, here we go. Many people are under the impression that W Corp Singularity is quick transportation via teleportation. That's how our technology is advertised to the public anyway. They aren't more strictly wrong. We're just hiding the bigger picture from them. W Corp Singularity is the restoration of a previous status. To put it in layman's terms, even if your body is crushed to a pulp, it can be restored to a recorded state as long as all the pieces remain. First off, we scan the molecular structures, genomic data, and other information of the passengers required for the restoration when they sit on their seats. The scanned data is stored in the transmission device inside the train, ready to be sent to the restoration machine. With that, any and all kinds of pandemonium into which the carriages may have turned can be reverted with a single button. The machine has difficulty scanning life forms that move too much, so we need to take measures to subdue it. As with all singularities, it has small side effects. Some might leave the train with slightly more weight than before, or gain a bit of height. No one's filed a complaint about it. It's likely because the change is so minor that they just shrug it off as a matter of feelings, like the body feeling lighter because of their excitement for going on a trip, or it's feeling heavier because they ate too much prior to boarding the train. The passengers don't remember what happened inside the train, but that's not because we use amnestics. It's the restoration procedure reverting the people's memories to a previous state rather than selectively erasing them. In plain language, everything goes back to how it was when it was scanned. The passengers will continue the conversations they were having when they first boarded the train as if nothing happened. They won't notice any oddity or displacement in their dialogue. Any thoughts they had or words they were about to speak will be restored and resumed seamlessly. Cool. Now I should read all these. 7 Association deals with info and investigations. We collect all kinds of information on this city. Though, why aren't we disclosing the full details about certain cases to the general public through the news outlets or anything, you ask? Some things are better left unknown, for the sake of the safety of this world. Here we go. Section 3 feels empty these days. Oh, didn't you hear the news? Many of them died in that incident with the distortion last time. Even the guy we counted on resigned and ran off. Right, that happened. I guess that's why the empty seat felt even more noticeable. He seemed pretty refreshed and relaxed on his last day. I wonder why he quit though. Sure, the work here could be tough, but isn't it still easy compared to some others? Gotta agree with that. Beats having worry about getting axed all the time. Rumor says he went on to join Musicians of Bremen. Why would he join that weird funky band? You tell me. Maybe there was something more important than making a fortune and spending the rest of his life in comfort for him. Yeah. Maybe. Huh. We value the art of violence more than anything here. Those with a non-scathed body are not permitted to join us. Swordsman who does not have a single blade scar on his skin is doubtlessly too careful when he wields his weapon, and his inane hesitation will be an obstacle. Too irresolute to endure the wounds his own blade would leave, let alone the assault of others. A body free of scars is proof of cowardice. Alas, it would be wise not to expose your wounds outside of those on your face. Huh. Next up, Blade lineage isn't known for coordination. It's a little more than a cohort of people who have nowhere else to go, or those who carry the intent to murder someone. Most who seek to join us sit at lowly social positions. It's not rare for such people to hold a deadly grudge against someone. You'd best behave for those who are more skilled than you. You may be a band of murderous ruffians, but we understand our place. All these have been read. Last one, Star of the City. We have a lot to read. Often you do the random things here too. Do that later though. Here we go. New section. Ooh, big page. Okay. New Association is a battle-oriented fixer association specializing in all-out combat. We receive requests from wings and fight great battles for them. Some may see the Liu's fighting style as old-fashioned, but we get frequent requests from those who want strong-willed and determined warriors. Most requests that come our way aren't complicated. 9 out of 10 are resolved by simply marching towards enemies and defeating them in battle. It doesn't require specific strategies or certain personnel. We're the Liu, the association that solely exists for war. That doesn't mean war is the only type of request we accept. After all, a fixer is free to take any request. The catch is that all requests made Oh no, the catch is that all requests must be reported to the HANA Association after you deal with them. The report must include the details of the request, the client's info, how the case was resolved, and any other relevant information. Once the report has been submitted, HANA Association will assess the performance of the office and its fixers, and evaluate them for promotion or demotion. That's how the grades of offices and fixers are updated. Therefore, a fixer's grade doesn't necessarily correlate with strengths. One last thing I'd like to add is that there is a line of fixers shouldn't cross. A fixer may advertise themselves or their office to get more requests, but they should not threaten people to give requests to them. This is an area handled by the HANA Association and UFI Association, a specialist in dealings and transactions. Of course, associations shouldn't have to worry about running out of requests in the first place. Next up. The thumb is the most cultivated and humane of the 5 fingers. Just to be polite, and know to respect others, but then, why did the thumb top the list of syndicates one would never want to get involved with in the survey of fixers conducted by the HANA Association? In spite of such good manners, the reason is simple. Hierarchy is absolute for the thumb. To us, it is natural as a fact of nature that split blood only flows downwards, not up. One is expected to give unconditional obedience to a higher authority. That's where the relative courteousness of the thumb comes from. Next up, cane office. Here we go. Ooh. Give me a sec, drink some water. We live in turbulent times when wings are destined to fall behind in the market if they don't respond to patent disputes effectively, big or small. It's one of the reasons patent wars are that much important. Those mega corporations sue one another for stealing their patent. Us small fries can watch the giants clash without worrying about getting caught in the crossfire. In fact, we benefit from such conflict. There are unspoken rules that you need to remember to keep your stake in a patent war. One must patent their technology separately for areas outside of the nest or other domain and under their jurisdiction. One must avoid admitting to infringement before carefully reviewing the lawsuit. The rights to a technology cannot be protected if its details were publicized through advertisements or such before the patent was registered, etc. Patent wars break out for so many reasons, it'll take a day and a half to list them out. I see. Notarization is the process of drafting documents to officially certify a deal between 2 offices in case things happen. A notarial act is fairly powerful. Through these documents you can verify various facts and secure executory force, meaning if one side doesn't carry out the part of the contract can be enforced on them. There's no need to argue about who is to blame. Notary acts exist to stop unnecessary disputes from occurring, and it's the job of notary public offices like Cane Office to help with that. Oh, and the city is divided in 2 domains. It's similar to how the Way Association sets territories for policing. It's fair to expect at least 1 notary public office in every domain. This isn't to say that you can only use the notary public office in your domain. If you can't find a notary public, or if the office isn't functional for whatever reason, you can always go to the other domains, though it costs a bit more. A lot of people still choose the latter since they need to get business done in a hurry. Not every notary public office has the same level of professionalism after all. Next one. Contracts should be signed on equal terms with the consent of all parties involved, and the office must fulfill the terms of the contract following the mutual agreement. It's a societal boundary that keeps us humans from betraying each other's trust as we must coexist. Although these principles are rather abstract, they exist to prevent anyone from devising lowly schemes and ensure that each party gets just benefits. The head's rules don't cover every small detail, so you can say this is a necessary addition to fill those gaps. Yeah, I'm kind of worried here. I'm kind of worried. I knew it, heck. I knew it. This is a fudge, man. Okay, that's gonna be long. Okay, as the gears turn, our bodies are put into motion. Thought gears are indispensable for meat gears. The introduction seems terrifying, but thought gears are said to feel much more satisfaction than meat gears do as time passes, actually. I'm not sure if a thought gear can still think like a human. They say thought gears are honored to be serving the role, but perhaps it's only a made-up story told by the worshippers who hadn't completely gone awry, wishing to free themselves of what little guilt they had. The words I sometimes hear aren't heard through my ears. The gear guides my body as it rotates, as if it's entering commands into my brain. Though that matters not, we are able to live thanks to the help of thought gears. We are no longer lost, unable to find a way ahead. Even if there is no path to take, it tells me where to place my next step. Great. Now this one. Oh golly. Oh god, it's gonna hurt. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ego. The weapon that corresponds to the mind of its wielder. The sword Carmen gave me was extracted from someone by chance. Giant eyeballs were attached to the sword, adorned with crimson chunks of flesh. They watched my every move, almost to the point of making me feel a bit uncomfortable. Wondering if this was a product of some new singularity, I asked Carmen what the thing was. She only said that I'll have to get used to it, since there's little she can do about how it looks. Although it looked a bit creepy, it wasn't anything unbearable, and Carmen didn't seem to mind it as long as there were experiments to be performed with it. She added that I have to be careful with it, as it was thanks to sheer luck that the ego could be extracted at all in its unstable state. I had a plethora of experience handling various workshop products, so I decided to take the sword without much hesitation. When I first had the sword in my grip, I didn't feel anything in particular. All I could tell is that it's just a big, heavy, great sword, nothing out of the ordinary other than its appearance. But then I held the sword for a few days later to protect a co-worker of mine. I heard a voice. It was the voice of someone desperately yearning for something. Unfortunately, the meaning of that voice was lost on me. Rather, it wasn't even human speech. An awkward sound mimicking somebody, noises of teeth grinding, bones crackling, mingling with flesh. Some things collide, fall apart, and mix in irregular patterns as if to mimic the way humans speak. However, the sound was too violent and sharp. A strong obsession of an empty one. Attachment, void. I'm not sure what word I should use to define this. One thing I understood was that only I could hear that voice, and that it rang in my head rather than my ears. The stronger and clearer my aim to protect someone became, the louder the noise in my head got. Anxious that my mind might become consumed by this voice, if I let it weaken my will, I tried my best to pretend that I didn't hear it. The eyes on the blade carefully observed me as I fought the voice in my head. The piercing gaze persisted, as if to replace me if I faltered even for a second. It made me feel hazy sometimes. The voice was only a bunch of grinding noises at the beginning, but it slowly learned to speak over time. Soon enough, I started speaking in a language that I could understand. Though it stammered a bit, it takes human hide to protect human flesh. A shell. It kept asking for a shell. I couldn't stop the voice, so the most I could do was ignore it. Even though there was danger in using it, its power was formidable. With it, I protected many a person, and cut down many a threat. The voice became stronger and deeper with the more blood the blade drank. One day, it asked a sharp question, "Don't you desire human shell as well?" When I think back on it, the question might not have been aimed at me specifically. It would only say whatever it wanted to say. It wouldn't try to convince or allure me. All it uttered was a monologue, yet I was frozen stiff when I heard that. It kept saying something. Our lives really worth the blood I spilled for them. It wasn't actually capable of forming such detailed sentences, but my head took it that way for some reason. Maybe I was thinking to myself. I denied its claim at the start. I never provoked anyone first. I'd only acted to protect others from an approaching danger, but I felt a small part of myself waver from what the voice said. What will remain when I keep washing away blood with blood? A blood-stained shell would be all that's left. I collapsed for a moment, but I didn't stop thinking. If I broke down, I might be in danger as Carmen warned. Carmen, right. Carmen would have been different. Nothing could possibly beat the glitter in her eyes that shines as she pioneers a new path. Those honest, virtuous eyes. Even when someone jeered at her speech, even when everyone despaired in the face of an obstacle that brought progress to a halt, Carmen never stopped looking after others. She would always take the initiative to lead all of them. If I can protect a person like that, maybe this place will change, yes, as long as I can protect that one person. As my thoughts became clearer, I couldn't just sit down. My body acted before my head could decide what to do. I don't exactly remember what happened then. When I finally took a grip on my rationality in the vast mindscape and came back to my senses, my body was burning hot. Is this rage? Have I been taken over to the point where I can't even see ahead? But I felt so calm, refreshed even. My head was kept cool, while my heart leaving the body was aflame. It wasn't long until I felt that something was different. On solid armor, there was a layer of something tough and dense. But it wasn't fabric. A veil of mist was covering me. Astonished, I moved around and shook my limbs several times, and the veil dissipated soon after. When Carmen learned of this, she didn't say much. She didn't make a big fuss about it or suggest trying something with it right away. She only said that wielding this power is more important than simply manifesting it, so I shouldn't be lazy. She went back to work after leaving that peculiar piece of advice. Maybe she didn't want me to feel too much pressure. As more time passed, I could use the armor for longer, and eventually got to draw out its full power. I had a weapon and armor that resonates with my emotions. Using them, I could protect more people, and I was able to draw forth more durability and strength. The researchers seemed to be struggling to make progress with their work, but it was alright. I believed them to make it through, and I just had to be quicker to do my job in the meantime. However, not long after, the incident happened. All too suddenly. No, maybe it wasn't so sudden. The sign was there. Just around this corner, I could hear a child crying. She's sitting in front of a door. One of the 2 children Carmen took in died in the failed experiment. Unlike Lisa, who was wary and reluctant to open up to us, Enoch showed interest in our research and volunteered to be a test subject the other day. Enoch's speech was so concise and on point, everyone was shocked. He wasn't afraid, and he wasn't shaking. His voice was unswerving, and gentle. Enoch's eyes weren't those of a naive little kid. His words and thoughts were surprisingly deep and mature. Even I was astonished. I sometimes wondered what made this kid have such thoughts. His eyes seemed to have already seen so much of this world's despair and misfortune. However, it was still no reason to allow a kid to participate in the experiments. Carmen spent several nights agonizing over the matter. Water. The experiment was authorized at last. No, I didn't want to know what they thought of it anymore. What were they going to do, holding the hand of that little kid? I had to wonder if we were that desperate, but I shrugged it off. I wasn't one to stop him from doing what he chose to do. You should have been the one to die. The other kid, who is now all alone, mumbled, crying. Her words had no weight to it. She probably spouted what she didn't sincerely mean, because the situation was too much for her. Yeah, I should have died. Carmen's answer, on the other hand, was likely sincere. Everyone stood still. A crack appeared in their minds, which we never thought would crumble. Maybe we all expected it to happen deep down. Carmen's state worsened with each passing day, like a rusting nail. The steady eyes of the woman who had brought us together were now cloudy, and she spoke less and less. Her voice was lifeless, and she had gotten so cold. It wouldn't have come to anyone's surprise if she died at any moment. She didn't bother trying to look okay. I think it was better that way. Everyone in the laboratory felt constrained in her presence. They viewed Carmen in different ways. Reproachful looks of those resenting her for bringing them so far, only to let go of her responsibility. Concerned looks of those worried that something might happen to her. And I guess there were some who had no thoughts. The research went on quietly, but not for long. A few days later, Carmen spilled out all of the guilt within her and plunged into it, never to come back up. Holy moly. That was a lot. We read all of them now. Oh heck. Well, we're now caught up, so hope you enjoyed this little brief one, and peace.